38-year-old retiree says, America, stop wasting your money on these 7 things if you want to retire early. We're going to be breaking down this article here to give you my impression on the ability to retire early from somebody who is almost there. I'm 26 years old and I'm almost at the point where I could actually retire from the funds that I currently have coming in from my passive income. Now, this is not something that I'm looking to do, and of course I don't want to do that just yet because it would mean that I'd have to reduce my expenses down to the bare minimum in order to do so. I'd have to downsize my house, I'd have to drive an old beater car, and I'd have to eat top ramen every single night. And I'm just not willing to do that. I want to live a better life than that, and I want to continue to succeed and push for the next level. So coming from somebody who's almost there at 26 years old and has been able to achieve what I've done in the last 5 years is all, I want to give you guys a breakdown of this article, provide my own thoughts on each section that they've got here, and also add some to the end of the list that I think will actually make a bigger impact for you if you're looking to retire early. Now, I know I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here. I'm gonna provide some insight that not everybody's going to agree with. And of course, there's gonna be multiple perspectives. Everybody's got a different route for how they want to invest, how they want to cut back on spending, how they want to earn more, how they want to be able to retire early. And for that amount, every person is gonna have a different number. So that's gonna depend entirely on you. So I'm providing my perspective on these thoughts. So let me know in the comments whether you agree, whether you disagree. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the items that we have here in the article, and let's jump into it. So in the very first section, it says, in 2016, I quit my 6-figure job in software development and retired early at the age of 35. My wife joined me shortly thereafter. Getting there wasn't easy. We always contributed to our retirement savings plans and invested tons of money into the stock market. But much of our success had to do with cutting back on spending. It was hard at first. Like the masses, I was never the thrifty type. Once I dropped my bad spending habits, however, our retirement savings began to skyrocket. Now, the first thing I want to say about this is there's no mention of any other types of investments. The only thing they've said here is retirement plans and the stock market, which are kind of the same thing, right? I talked about this a lot here on the channel, that you need to have multiple sources of income. You need to have multiple retirement strategies. In fact, if you missed my last video where I talk about that exact thing, this is one thing that's so important and so crucial, especially right now with the stock market being so uncertain, is that you need to have multiple retirement plans. I'm sure that they probably own their own home, I would assume anyway, but there's no mention of that here, and there's no mention of any other real estate income here on this. So in fact, I think that at a time like right now, they're probably getting hammered right now wondering if their stock market portfolio is going to be enough to keep them in retirement. So jumping into number 1, it says, I get it. It's nice to get out of the house and have somebody else cook for you once in a while. And in fact, for them, it says that they used to spend a combined amount of $750 per month eating out, and that includes delivery and drinks. They've got it broken down here that says $210 to restaurant meals, $189 for drinks, $178 for takeout and delivery, and $173 for buying lunch. Now, I'm looking at this number and I'm thinking, man, $750 a month on eating out, including drinks and takeout and dinner and all of this, that seems like a really high number. That's $9,000 per year. So out of curiosity, I went back and looked at our credit card statements for my wife and I, and looked at everything that we spent on eating out over the last month, and it came out to $283.72. And I'm over here thinking, man, we eat out a lot. We get coffees, we eat out multiple times per week. You know, we're not really the type of people to go out for drinks, but man, we only spend $283. These guys are spending 3 times that. So there's definitely room to cut out expensive costs, like it says they did here in the article, which is cutting out drinks when you go out to eat, or even cutting out desserts or appetizers. Of course, those things can add up very quickly. So spend your money on cheaper dinners. Go and get drive-through or takeout from somewhere rather than going to eat in at a restaurant. It's the same quality food. It can probably make you just as happy. Of course, you can still go to the restaurant every once a month or whatever, but just choose those cheaper options and you can reduce your bill significantly really quickly. Now, number 2 on their list here is phone upgrades. I think this is actually a very interesting one here because I don't know that this qualifies for item number 2. I mean, I get a phone usually every 2 years, and I think that most people, some people do upgrade once a year. Sometimes they upgrade every 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. These guys, they're saying they do it every 4 years. And, I think that that's such a small cost overall. That's not going to be the thing that changes that gets you to retirement early. It says here in the article that buying the new model is going to cost you an extra $25 per month. Now, I'm not saying don't go save that $25 per month, but when you really think about it, $25 a month isn't that much in the grand scheme of things when you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars needed to retire. And for somebody like myself, where I basically make my living off of being able to have access to a good phone and a good computer and good internet, that's important to me. I need that stuff to run well and I need it to be reliable. So sorry to break it to you, but $25 isn't going to be the item that you need to cut out of your life to retire early. Moving on to number 3, this one makes a little bit more sense. It's talking about clothing and apparel. Now, there's not much about their spending habits here. It just gives some information about different surveys that have been done showing how much Americans spend on clothing and apparel each year on average. It says their clothes buying rule is pretty simple. Just vow to buy less. I don't really know what that means. I just buy the essentials, and once I do, I wear them until they're stained, ripped, or no longer fit. And I think that's pretty valid. I think that's a good way to approach this. And it says that they step foot in shopping malls 2 or 3 times a year and spend up to $50 to $100. The thing that I want to add on top of this is find cheaper clothes that are still nice. You can go shop at Ross, you can go shop at H&M and buy t-shirts for $10 or less. That's what this t-shirt is. It's from H&M. It's super comfortable, it fits great, and it's gonna last me a long time, and it was 10 bucks. If I go buy a shirt from another store, it could cost me $30, $40, $50 for a t-shirt that's almost the exact same. So just be more conscious about what type of clothing and apparel you're buying, because let's be honest guys, you don't need those new Yeezys. Now, number 4 on the list is lottery tickets. They go on to say that the average person spends an average of $86 a month on lottery tickets. And a staggering 59% of millennials think that this is a valid way to retire, which is absolutely mind-blowing. Guys, I don't really get this one. Maybe it's because we don't have the lottery here in Utah. It's not something that you can participate in here in our state. So I just don't really get this one. I've never played the lottery. I don't understand the purpose of buying those tickets just to try and hope and get lucky. Why not put your money into something that you know will produce a guaranteed return and is a better asset that you can actually own and sell at one point in the future for a higher amount? All right, now number 5 on the list is really good. I don't even know how this one made the list. I don't know about you guys, but this is something that I have almost never spent money on. That is extended warranties. It goes on here in the article to say that most individuals will overestimate the amount of repairs that a particular item will actually need. Now, I don't even know how this one made the list. I mean, I've only bought an extended warranty one time, and that was on a $3,000 couch that we purchased because my wife and I, we decided, hey, if we're gonna spill wine or food or something on the couch, we wanna be able to have a nice couch, especially when we're spending so much money on this thing. So that's the one time that we bought an extended warranty. I've never bought one any other time. I don't know, maybe that's just something I've never been willing to pay for, but I'm just really surprised that this one made the list. I don't think, again, that this is something that you're gonna be able to cut out to reach early retirement. That's not realistic. Number 6, cable TV. That's something I can get behind. It says here, cable TV prices have skyrocketed over the last couple of years. But times have changed, and with the number of streaming services available, it just doesn't make sense to have cable TV anymore. And I have to agree, between Netflix and Hulu, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, all of these streaming services, it really just doesn't make sense to have TV anymore. You're going to be able to get almost every single show that you'd want to watch with these streaming services, and it's still going to be cheaper than having cable TV. Plus, at least you're going to get some educational and interesting material on those streaming services, whereas cable TV is mostly just a bunch of negativity, news, and stuff that doesn't really make your life any better. So with that being said, I don't think that cable TV is necessary, but when you compare the cost to cable TV to all these streaming services, the difference is going to be a relatively small amount, and again, it's not going to be the difference that gets you to an early retirement. All right, now number 7 on our list is one, again, that I can get behind here. Now this one's kind of funny because in the article it says, "Trust me, the immediate satisfaction will wear off before you know it. There were so many times I had to stop myself picking up a 24 pack of toilet paper just because it seemed like a good deal, even though we were fully stocked at home." Now this is kind of funny because toilet paper is a hot commodity right now, But in normal times, toilet paper doesn't go bad. You're gonna use it eventually, and the cost of it is like a couple bucks. Just buy it. Even if you're fully stocked, it's gonna get used. It's not like it's gonna go to waste. So just buy the dang thing. That's not the item you need to be worried about impulse buying. But the thing I do agree with is that it says that big purchases are the most dangerous, and that is definitely true. I have a personal rule that if it's something under $100, I try to sit on it for at least 24 hours. If it's over $100, I'm gonna try and sit on that decision for at least 3 to 5 days, if not a week or more. Doing this is gonna help you really think about whether you actually need the item or not, and make sure that you're not just buying it because it sounds nice in the moment. All right, so now we've covered some good ideas and also some not so good ideas about things you need to cut out of your spending habits in order to retire early. The thing that I have beef with on this article particularly is there's no mention of 3 other items that are huge when it comes to your monthly spending. I want to talk about those items because I absolutely can't believe that the article didn't talk about them. I don't know if this is just your mainstream newspaper article that just doesn't want to say them because they're the most common and most obvious reasons, or if it's something else. I don't know, but we need to talk about them here. So number 1 on our list, if you want to be able to retire early, make sure you're not spending extra money on a car that you don't really need. If getting to retirement and becoming financially free is your main goal, then make sure you're not driving a car that's nicer than you really need. You know, if cars really aren't your thing, then you don't need to be driving a nice car just because everybody else is, or even just because you can afford it. A car is pretty easily 10 to 20% of most people's monthly income, and sometimes even higher. So drive a car that's half as nice, cut your payment in half, and instantly you're gonna be saving 5, 10, 15% of your monthly income just by dropping your car payment and by dropping the maintenance and by dropping the insurance costs that it costs to insure a more expensive car. Trust me, you're gonna be able to retire earlier by doing this than by cutting out extended warranties. And now let's talk about the item that probably takes up the majority of your monthly income, and that's housing. Again, I don't know why this article didn't talk about anything related to housing. This makes absolutely no sense. It talks nothing about real estate, what type of home they lived in, where they lived, or anything like that. So that's a little bit silly to me because in most cases, housing is going to take up anywhere from 30 to 50% of somebody's monthly income. By the time you factor in a mortgage and you factor in maintenance and the time that you actually spend taking care of the home, it's easily that amount. Maybe it's time to find something that you can buy for cheaper or you can rent for cheaper, or look into house hacking so that you can rent out part of your house and instantly drop your mortgage by half or even the full amount. If you really want to get to retirement early, this is easily the number 1 thing that you need to really look at and really be willing to make sacrifices on in order to get to that point. And the third item I want to talk about today, because it is such a massive debt here in America, is student loans. Whether you've already been to college and you're thinking about going back, or you're younger and you're thinking about going to college for the first time, this is something you really want to think about. Student loans are absolutely drowning so many people right now, and it's a little bit terrifying, right? You're gonna have to pay these back, and that's kind of the obligation that you have when you agree to go to college in the first place. Now, the reasoning behind this is that you should be able to get a better job should you go to college, but that's not always the case. I know tons of people out there who've been to college and then they still end up in an entry-level position. So instead, find something that you're passionate about, find something that you really want to go into, and start figuring out how to do that without having to take on student loans and without having to go to college. If you can do this, again, that's gonna be the difference that actually gets you to early retirement. So with that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Follow me on Instagram at UtahRealEstate_ if you haven't already done so. Give me a thumbs up here on the video if you liked this content, and subscribe to the channel by clicking that button down below and that bell to get notified when I release new videos just like this one. Until next time.